I was 17 when it all cracked open, like the parched earth after a Kansas summer drought. We'd been harvesting soybeans that August, the air thick with dust and the hum of cicadas, when I finally let the truth slip. It wasn't some grand coming-out parade. No rainbow flags or tearful speeches. Just me, wiping sweat from my brow in the truck bed, turning to my cousin Jake and muttering, "I think I like boys, man. Like, really like them." He laughed at first. Thought I was joking about some celebrity crush. But when he saw my eyes, dead serious under the brim of my ball cap, his face twisted like he'd swallowed a worm. "Jesus, Isaiah, you can't say shit like that around here. Dad'll kill you." He was right. Our family was the backbone of Eldridge, Kansas. A speck on the map where the Bible Belt cinched tighter than a noose. Dad ran the feed store. Mom baked pies for the Methodist potlucks. And we boys were expected to play football, chase skirts, and vote Republican without a second thought. Being gay, that was worse than blasphemy. It was a stain on the family name, a ticket to hellfire and whispers at the diner. Jake swore he'd keep my secret, but secrets in a town of 2,000 souls don't stay buried long. By supper time, the whole damn county knew. That night, the storm hit, literal and figurative. Thunder rattled the windows of our double-wide as Dad burst through the screen door, his work boots tracking mud across Mom's linoleum. Uncle Ray and Aunt Linda trailed behind, faces grim as gravestones, and Jake slunk in last, avoiding my gaze. "What the hell is this I hear?" Dad bellowed, slamming a crumpled printout on the table. A screenshot from Jake's phone, my confession immortalized in pixels. Mom gasped, clutching her cross necklace, while my little sister Ellie huddled in the corner, wide-eyed and silent. I stood up, heart pounding like a jackhammer. "It's true, Dad. I'm gay." The words hung there, heavy as the humidity, and for a beat, the only sound was the fridge humming its indifferent tune. Then the explosion. Dad lunged across the table, grabbing me by the collar, his breath reeking of cheap whiskey. "You think you can drag this perversion into my house? After everything I've done?" His fist connected with my jaw, a dull thud that sent stars bursting behind my eyes. I tasted copper, but I didn't fight back. Couldn't, not against the man who'd taught me to throw a curveball and pray before meals. Uncle Ray pulled him off, muttering about talking sense into the boy. But his eyes said otherwise, disgust, pure and unfiltered. Mom wept into her apron, whispering prayers for my soul, while Aunt Linda spat, "It's that city poison from those books you read. We should have burned him." Ellie just stared, her pigtails limp, as if watching a stranger unravel. "Jake?" He mumbled something about it being a phase, but his betrayal burned hottest. He'd ratted me out to save his own hide. They didn't throw me out that night. Small mercies in the eye of the hurricane. Instead, they locked me in my room, the click of the padlock a final judgment. I curled on my twin bed, posters of Nolan Ryan and the Chiefs mocking me from the walls, and sobbed until my ribs ached. Dawn crept in gray and unforgiving, and with it came Grandma Ruth. She was the outlier in our clan, widowed young, sharp-tongued, with a Ford pickup older than me and a habit of sneaking me contraband like comic books and Dr. Pepper. Dad called her that old bat. But she'd always had my back, teaching me to fish the Republican River and quoting Mark Twain like gospel. She showed up unannounced, tires crunching gravel, and banged on the door until Dad let her in. Through the crack under my door, I heard the muffled showdown. "You lay a hand on that boy again, Harlan, and I'll bury you myself," she snarled, her voice like gravel under boots. "He's your flesh and blood, not some devil to exorcise." Dad grumbled about sin and scripture, but Grandma didn't budge. "Bible says love thy neighbor, not beat 'em senseless. You want to cast him out? Fine. But he'll come live with me." By noon, my duffel was packed. Jeans, a few tees, my baseball glove, and the shoebox of baseball cards I'd hoarded since kidhood. Mom slipped me a photo of us at the state fair, her eyes red-rimmed, whispering, "Forgive us, baby. Pray on it." Ellie hugged me fierce, her sticky fingers clutching my shirt. "Don't forget me, Izzy." But Dad? He stood on the porch, arms crossed, not even a goodbye. "Don't come crawling back. he growled as Grandma's truck peeled out, dust clouding the rear view. Eldridge faded like a bad dream, the endless flatlands stretching toward Wichita. Grandma's place was a sagging Victorian on the edge of town, paint peeling like old skin, but it felt like sanctuary. She brewed coffee strong as tar and slid a plate of biscuits my way. Eat, kiddo. World's too cruel to face on an empty stomach. That first week blurred into survival mode. I enrolled at the community college for basics, agronomy, because what else did a farm boy know? And picked up shifts at the local diner, slinging hash browns to truckers who tipped in quarters and sideways glances. Whispers followed me. That's Harlan's queer kid. But Grandma shielded me like a hen her chick. She'd regale the busybodies with tales of her wild youth in the 60s, hinting at her own adventures that shut mouths quick. Nights were hardest. Lying in the creaky guest bed, I'd replay the shotgun blast. Not real bullets, thank God, just Dad firing into the air to scare sense into me later that week when I tried calling home. The family cut ties cold. No calls, no visits, just a certified letter from Dad's lawyer revoking my inheritance, such as it was. A plot of worthless scrubland. For your own good, it read. Ellie smuggled notes via Jake once, scrawled please. Miss you. They pray for you every night. But the shame festered, a black knot in my gut. Grandma noticed. One evening, as fireflies danced outside the screen porch, she handed me a beer, my first legal one, and said, Pain don't heal overnight, Isaiah, but it shapes you like river carves canyon. You got a good heart. Don't let 'em chisel it away. I nodded, throat tight, and that's when Tobias entered the frame. He was a transfer from Lawrence, Kansas, tall, lanky, with tousled brown hair and eyes like storm clouds, majoring in literature at the college. We met in English Lit, dissecting The Great Gatsby, while the prof droned about the American dream. He sat 2 rows back, doodling in the margins, but caught my eye during discussion. Gatsby's tragedy isn't the money. It's loving someone who only sees your mask. After class, he lingered by the door, backpack slung casual. Deep, right? I'm Tobias, by the way. His smile was easy, disarming, like he'd wandered out of a Kerouac novel. We grabbed coffee at the campus union. Black for me, latte for him, and talked for hours. He was out, unapologetic, from a crunchy liberal family in Topeka who hosted pride barbecues. Coming out was cake, he said, stirring foam. Mom baked rainbow cupcakes. Yours. I hesitated, then spilled it, the shotgun, the lock, the exile. He listened without pity, just quiet nods. His hand brushing mine accidental under the table. That's bullshit, Isaiah. Real American Gothic horror. But you're out now. Free. Free. The word lodged in my chest, warm and unfamiliar. Over weeks, Tobias became anchor. Study sessions turning to late-night drives along Route 50, windows down, Springsteen blasting Thunder Road. He'd tease my farm boy drawl. I'd mock his pretentious poetry quotes, but underneath hummed something electric, tentative. Our first kiss happened impulsive, parked by the river under a harvest moon. His lips soft, tasting of mint gum, my hands trembling as they cupped his face. This okay? He whispered, forehead to mine. More than, I breathed, heart slamming. But paradise in Kansas is fleeting. Fall leaves turned brittle, and with them trouble brewed. Dad started sniffing around, demanding I fix myself via some church camp in Arkansas. Grandma shut him down with a single call. Over my dead body. Whispers escalated. A brick through her mailbox. Fag lover, scrawled in red. Tobias urged me to report it, but I waved it off. Small-town justice was a joke. Then, the betrayal that gutted me deepest. Jake texted out of the blue. Family intervention. They're taking you back. Meet at the diner 7 p.m. Please, bro. Hope flickered stupid. Maybe redemption? I showed. Stomach knotted. Only to find not forgiveness, but an ambush. Dad, Uncle Ray, Pastor Hale from the Baptist Church, and a counselor with a clipboard and cold eyes. Son, this is for your salvation, Dad said, voice cracking for the first time. Confession, prayer, therapy. You'll thank us. I bolted, chair scraping, tears hot. Outside, rain slicked the parking lot, and there was Tobias, waiting in his beat-up Civic, wipers slashing. Saw him through the window. Get in. We drove in silence to Grandma's, my fists clenched white on my knees. She met us at the door, shotgun, unloaded, thank God, propped casual. Let him come, she said, pulling me into a hug that smelled of lavender and resolve. That night, as Tobias held me on the couch, whispering nonsense poetry to drown my sobs, I vowed. No more running. But the fight was just igniting. Winter clamped down on Eldridge like a vice, snowdrifts burying the fence rows and turning the world monochrome. Tobias and I hunkered in, our worlds colliding in stolen moments. Him reading Whitman aloud by the wood stove, me teaching him to two-step in Grandma's cramped kitchen to Merle Haggard on the radio. You're a natural liar, he'd quip, stepping on my toes. This ain't country, I'd retort. But we'd laugh until breathless, collapsing into each other with a tenderness that scared me. Love, real and raw, felt like a foreign country, one I was learning to navigate blind. Grandma watched us with a knowing glint, never prying but always providing. Extra blankets for movie nights that stretched till dawn, or pie tins filled with her secret recipe apple crumble. Boys got a spark, she'd say to me later, washing dishes. Don't snuff it out chasing ghosts. She meant the family, of course. Their radio silence broken only by Ellie's clandestine postcards, smudged with crayon hearts. Wish I could hug you. Dad says you're lost, but I know you're home. School kept me sane, a bubble of relative normalcy. Tobias dragged me to the campus GSA meetings, where kids shared stories that mirrored mine but ended in hugs, not haymakers. There was Mia, a trans girl from Salina fighting for bathroom rights, and Carlos, who'd fled a macho Latino clan in Garden City. You're brave just showing up, Tobias said after my first share, his thumb tracing circles on my palm. Brave? I felt like an imposter, still jumping at shadows, scanning lots for Dad's F-150. But shadows lengthened. January brought a gut punch. The lawyer's second letter, this one revoking Grandma's undue influence claim on family property. Turns out, Dad had petitioned the courts, arguing I was unfit due to moral degeneracy. And Grandma's trailer sat on that scrubland they deeded away. Eviction loomed, papers taped to the door like a scarlet letter. This is war, Grandma spat, crumpling the notice. Those sonsa bitches think they can steal our home? She rallied like Patton at the bulge. First, the lawyer, old Mr. Hargrove, who'd handled her will since Grandpa's passing. Ruth, it's airtight. He sighed over tea, spectacles fogged. Harlan's got the county judge in his pocket, golf buddies. But Grandma's eyes narrowed, that sly fox gleam. Airtight, huh? Let's see about that. That's when the secret surfaced, piecemeal at first. Late one night, as Tobias dozed on the couch post-shift at the bookstore, Grandma beckoned me to her room. The attic stairs creaked underfoot, dust motes swirling in flashlight beam, until we reached a loose floorboard behind a stack of yellowed National Geographics. She pried it up with a butter knife, revealing not gold doubloons, but bundles of cash. Crisp hundreds, rubber-banded, totaling God knows. Emergency fund, she whispered, eyes distant. From the old days. Blackjack tables in Vegas, 68. Your grandpa and I cleaned house. My jaw dropped. Grandma, this is illegal? She chuckled, low and wicked. Only if they catch you. But it's ours. Clean as a whistle now. Invested quiet over decades. Cashed out slow. Enough to lawyer up proper. Fight fire with fire. She pressed a stack into my hand. Cool and heavy. For you too. College, a fresh start. Don't tell a soul. Not even pretty boy downstairs. I nodded, stunned, the weight more than paper. It was rebellion incarnate. A middle finger to the hypocrisy that birthed me. Dad preached poverty and piety. But Grandma? She'd gambled, won, and hoarded for the reckoning. We hired Elena Vasquez, a firebrand attorney from Wichita, out herself with a rep for dismantling bigots in family court. She swept in like a nor'easter, files in tow, dissecting the claim over pot roast. Harlan's bluffing, she declared, fork spearing a carrot. That land's been Ruth's de facto since '82. No formal transfer.
Plus, émotionnel duresse?
We'll bury him in depositions. Tobias squeezed my knee under the table, his grin conspiratorial. But betrayal's blade twists deeper with allies. February's thaw brought Jake to the door, hat in hand, Ellie peeking from the truck. Just a visit, he lied, but his eyes darted. We talked stilted farm updates, Ellie's school play, until he cornered me in the barn. Dad's desperate, man. Stores tanking, drought killed the crops. He needs that land to sell, pay debts. Sympathy flickered, then died. So use me as the scapegoat? Tell the bank it's my fault. Jake flushed. It's not like that. Pastor says if you repent, we can all move on. Therapy. Isaiah. Real help. His voice cracked, pleading, but it reeked of coercion. Ellie tugged my sleeve later. Is it bad to love boys? Teacher says love is good. I hugged her tight, promising ice cream in secret, but when they left, rage boiled over. Tobias found me chopping wood till my arms screamed. He's poison, he said, taking the axe. Family or not. The court date loomed in March, courthouse in Hutchinson, a squat brick fortress under leaden skies. Dad's side assembled like a lynch mob. Him in his Sunday suit, Mom pale and prayerful, Uncle Ray stone-faced, Pastor Hale clutching his Bible like a shield. Jake avoided my eyes, Ellie absent. Grounded, rumor had it. Grandma entered regal, cane tapping, me and Tobias flanking like sentinels, Elena striding ahead. Proceedings dragged, legalese thick as fog. Dad testified first, voice booming. My boy's confused, Your Honor. Influences from outsiders. He glared at Tobias, who met it cool. This eviction's mercy. Get him straight before he ruins us all. Gasps rippled. Elena objected sharp, but the judge, a crony, paunchy, and patriarchal, nodded indulgent. Our turn. Grandma took the stand, unflinching. Harlan birthed him, but I raised him. Taught him right from wrong, even when his own blood wouldn't. She detailed the abuse, the lock, the shotgun scare, her voice steady as Kansas bedrock. That land's mine by sweat, not paper. And Isaiah? He's twice the man his father ever was. Kind, hard-working, loving without strings. Then me. Sweat beaded under my collar as I recounted the night, the punch, the exile. I didn't choose this, sir, but I won't hide it. Family's supposed to lift you, not break you. Tobias's hand in mine off-stand grounded me. His whisper pretest. You've got this, farm boy. Elena sealed it, unveiling bank records. Grandma's savings funneled into a trust, proving financial independence. No duress, Your Honor. Just bigotry masked as piety. The judge recessed, murmurs buzzing like flies. Waiting crushed me. Tobias paced the hall, quoting Rilke. Let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. I wanted to believe, but doubt gnawed. Would cash trump scripture in God's country? Verdict dropped like a gavel hammer. Land secured for Grandma. Injunction against harassment. Dad's face crumpled. Mom wept openly. Pastor Hale stormed out muttering damnation. Victory tasted bittersweet, ash on my tongue. As we filed out, Dad cornered me in the shadow of the columns. This ain't over, boy. You'll burn for it. Save your hellfire, Dad. I shot back, voice steel. I'm already rising. Outside, sun-pierced clouds, and Tobias pulled me into a hug fierce enough to bruise. Proud of you, he murmured, lips brushing my temple. Grandma winked, slipping Elena an envelope. Bonus, no doubt, from the stash. But elation faded fast. That night, sirens wailed. Jake's truck, torched in our drive arson. Cops said. No proof, but the message screamed. Payback. Fear coiled anew, but so did resolve. The cash wasn't just paper. It was ammunition. And with Tobias's fire and Grandma's grit, I was arming up. Spring bloomed defiant, tulips pushing through frost-killed grass. Tobias and I deepened, weekends hiking the Flint Hills, his head on my shoulder as stars wheeled overhead. Future's ours, he'd say, tracing constellations. I believed him almost until the next shoe dropped. April showers turned the fields to mud, mirroring the slop in my soul. The arson hit local news, a blip on the Wichita feed. Hate crime suspected in trailer fire. Reporters sniffed around, but Grandma stonewalled, cane thumping. Mind your beeswax. Cops questioned Jake. He swore alibis, tears streaming. But his flinch said volumes. Dad denied involvement, of course, but the family rift widened to chasm. Ellie stopped the postcards. Silence from home louder than screams. Tobias pushed me to channel it. Man. Write it out. He shoved a journal my way, leather-bound and blank, during one of our river picnics. Ham sandwiches and stolen beers. I resisted at first. Farm boys don't scribble feelings. But words clawed out that night. Raw verses on exile, love's fragile bridge. He read them by lamplight, eyes shining. This is gold, Isaiah. Submit to the Lit Mag. Or better, start a blog. Anonymous if you need. The idea terrified, thrilled. Under Plains Queer, I poured it. Vignettes of shotgun sermons, Grandma's hidden vault, kisses under Kansas moons. Posts went viral quiet. Shares from GSA networks. Then strangers. Your words saved me tonight. Comments flooded. Support mostly, but trolls too. Go back to hell, freak. Tobias moderated, fierce guardian. While Grandma chuckled over printouts. Give him hell, kid.
Point à preuve.
Money from the secret stash seeded more. Elena's retainer topped up, plus community college tuition locked in. But Grandma's cough started then. Dry hacks at dawn. Dismissed as spring pollen. I fretted, but she waved it off. Older than dirt, Isaiah. Tough as nails. Tobias's world pulled me wider. He scored an internship at the local paper, Eldridge Echo, fact-checking obits and AG reports. Glamorous, huh? He joked, but it meant stability. His own apartment above the bakery, cinnamon-scented mornings. We spent nights there, tangled in thrift store sheets, talking dreams. Him to journalism school in Lawrence, me maybe vet tech, healing strays like me. Together, he'd affirm, fingers laced. Romance bloomed gentle, notes in lunch bags, mixtapes of Bon Iver and Jason Isbell. No grand gestures, just the quiet miracle of being seen. But conflict simmered. May brought town hall budget vote, but hijacked by Pastor Hale's family values crusade. Flyers everywhere. Protect our youth from deviancy. He name-dropped me veiled. One boy's fall from grace endangers us all. The hall packed, air thick with potluck casserole and prejudice. Dad spoke second, voice gravel. My own flesh turned against God. We can't let it spread. I debated going confront or cower. Tobias voted show. Grandma, fight smart. Take the stage but swing wise. We did. Me in khakis and button-down, heart jackrabbit. Elena coached. Facts over fury. When my name surfaced explicit, Hale outing the blog as poison, I stood, mic trembling.
I'm Isaiah Klein.
Yeah, I'm gay. And yeah, it hurt losing my family for it. But hate, that's the real poison, torching trucks, shaming kids. Eldridge is better than this. Murmurs swelled, some cheers, some boos. A woman in the back, Mrs. Delaney, diner regular, stood. Boy's right. My nephew's like him. Leave him be. Momentum shifted. Vote passed progressive. Funding GSA in schools. Pastor fumed. Dad stormed out, but victory tasted like progress, small, seismic. After, at the diner, toasts with root beer floats. Tobias beamed. You're a force, Klein. But elation soured quick. Walking home, headlights pinned us, truck idling curbside. Dad's silhouette, unmistakable. Get in, son. Last chance. His tone begged, broke. I froze, Tobias tensing beside me.
No, Dad.
Not like this. Words steady, but gut twisted. He revved, peeled off, taillights bleeding red into dusk. That shook me deeper than fists. Betrayal from Jake was expected. From Dad, it carved hollow. Nights, I'd wake sweating, dreams of shotguns morphing to open arms. Tobias held me through, but strain showed, his internship deadlines clashing my shifts, arguments over hiding at events. I'm not ashamed, I'd snap. Then act it, he'd counter, hurt flashing. Grandma's cough worsened. Doc visits hushed. Bronchitis, she lied, but x-rays told truth. Stage 3, lungs riddled. Cancer from years chain-smoking Luckies. From the war, she quipped, Grandpa's, not hers. We rallied, chemo scheduled, stash funding specialists in Wichita. Tobias drove, me at her side, her hand papery in mine. Don't fuss, boys. I've lived plenty. Summer scorched in, hay baling brutal under relentless sun. I worked double, cash for bills, blog gaining traction, offers for guest spots on podcasts, even a literary agent sniffing. Memoir potential, she emailed. Tobias glowed prouder than I, framing print interviews on his fridge. But climax brewed in July heat. Ellie called secret, borrowed Jake's phone. Izzy, help, Dad's drinking bad. Hit Mom. Says he'll end it if you don't come. Panic surged. Family ties yanked like reins. I confided in Tobias. Gotta go. For her. He nodded reluctant. Take backup. Me or Elena.
I cose solo, foolish pride.
Drove the hour to the old trailer, dusk painting fields gold.
Door IR, shout spilling. Dad raging, Mom sobbing, Ellie wailing.
You did this. Your weakness broke us. He swung a bottle, shattering against wall. I burst in. Stop. Dad, enough. He whirled, eyes wild, bloodshot. You, come to gloat. Fist raised, but I dodged, grabbing Ellie. I'm here for her, not you. Chaos erupted. Mom clawing at him, me shielding sis. Then the crack. Bottle to my temple, world spinning black. Woke to sirens, cuffs on Dad. Assault charges, Mom pressing finally. Ellie clung, sobbing. Don't leave again. Hospital stitched me up. Concussion light. Tobias arrived frantic. Elena filing orders. Grandma, frail from chemo, wheeled in, stubborn ass, but brave. Dad bailed quick. Charges dropped under pressure. Pastor's pull. But fracture deepened. Mom visited secret, bruises blooming. He's sorry, baby. Lost. I forgave fraction for Ellie, but trust? Shattered glass. Betrayal's echo. Jake confessed later. Drunk text. I told Dad about the blog. Thought it'd force you home. Knife twist. I blocked him. Rage volcanic. But Tobias tempered. Let go, or it eats you. August waned. Harvest moon fat. Grandma rallied, brief remission whispers, but we knew. Blog exploded post-hospital. Blood and belonging. Raw on family fracture. Reads surged. Donations trickled for queer youth funds. Cash from stash. Diversified, trust for Ellie, scholarship me. Tobias proposed solid. Move in. For real. I hesitated, fear of loss, of tainting him. But his eyes, steady. We're in this, Isaiah. All the mess. I said yes, tears salt. Romance rekindled, deeper. Vows unspoken in dawn light. But storm clouds gathered. Pastor's crusade escalated. Petitions to shutter GSA. Boycotts on sympathizers. Diner shifts dried. Whispers turned shouts. One night, en route home, gravel crunched. Figures in masks, bats swinging. Tobias shoved me down. Run! Crack of wood on bone. His scream, my world fracturing. I fought back, fists flying but numbers overwhelmed. Sirens wailed distant as they fled. Taunts fading. Stay in your lane, fags. Hospital again. Tobias's arm fractured, ribs bruised. Me cuts and fury. Cops. Kids pranking. Grandma. From her bed. Time to fight dirty. The secret cache. Unleashed. Elena sued the church. Conspiracy hints, witnesses from hall. Blog mobilized. Eldridge rising. Allies pouring in. Climax hit court packed. Flashbulbs popping. Pastor squirmed under cross-exam. Dad subpoenaed, crumbling. I feared for his soul. Verdict. Settlement fat. GSA funded. Hate speech injunction. Town shifted slow seismic. But cost. Grandma faded fast post-trial. Autumn leaves mirroring her pallor. Bedside. She pressed the shoebox. Remainder stash. For the fight ahead. Love you, wild one. She slipped quiet. October 15th. Under harvest moon. Funeral packed. Townsfolk shamed. Family absent save Mom and Ellie. Heads bowed. Dad? No show. Grief hollowed, but Tobias filled cracks. She fought for this, he said, hand in mine at graveside. Humanistic clothes loomed. Not tidy happy, but resilient. November winds howled elegies across the plains, stripping trees bare as my grief. Grandma's Victorian stood emptier, her chair by the window a ghost perch, quilt folded neat but untouched. We buried her in the family plot, irony bitter. Under a sky bruised purple, Pastor Hale officiating grudging, his sermon on redemption laced with thorns. Mom attended, Ellie in tow, her small hand in mine during the Lord's Prayer. She was proud of you, Mom whispered post-dirt toss, eyes avoiding. Dad? Vanished to a motel, drowning debts in denial. Jake sent flowers, wilted daisies, apology note unread. Tobias and I navigated widowhood tandem, his arm in a sling a constant reminder of our shared scars. Mornings, he'd brew chicory coffee strong. Read obits aloud with wry twists. At least they didn't say, finally succumbed to sanity. Laughter cracked the ice, fragile but vital. Nights, we'd sift her attic. Letters from Grandpa, yellowed photos of her Vegas heyday. A locket with my baby picture inside. She planned this, I'd say, fingering the cash bundles now banked proper. Knew we'd need armor. The settlement cash, ironic windfall from hate. Seeded futures. Tobias's tuition to KU, my vet tech cert accelerated. Blog evolved to platform, Eldridge Rising birthing support nets, hotlines for rural queer kids, grants from urban allies. Elena partnered pro bono now, her office a war room of case files. You're the spark, she told me over victory tacos. Don't burn out. But embers smoldered. Ellie visited weekends, shuttled by Mom's guilty conscience. She'd curl on the couch, demanding stories. Tell me about Grandma's secret money again. I'd embellish. The blackjack wins as heists, cash as pirate treasure, her giggles bomb. One visit, she drew a picture. Me and Tobias as superheroes, capes fluttering, Dad a storm cloud receding. You're my heroes, she said, crayon sticky hug. Tobias teared up later. Kids' wisdom. We save each other. Romance deepened in grief's forge. Less fireworks, more hearth. We drive to the Republican, skip stones till dusk, his head on my shoulder. Remember our first kiss? He'd murmur. Moon like tonight. I'd pull him close, lips meeting soft, world narrowing to breath and beat. No rush, just presence, humanity in the hold. Winter solstice brought betrayal's coda. Jake appeared uninvited, boots scuffed, eyes hollowed by hangover. Need to talk. About Dad. We met at the diner, neutral ground, pie cooling untouched. He spilled. Dad's spiral, store foreclosed, bottle his boss, whispers of an affair with the church secretary. Pastor's covering, but it's unraveling. He blames you still. Says the lawsuit ruined him. Pity stirred, reluctant. He ruined himself, Jake. Long before me. Jake nodded, shame etching lines young for 20. I know. I helped. The fire, the text, stupid, scared shit. Forgive. I weighed it, fork midway. Ellie maybe. You? Earn it. He left lighter, promised to visit her sans agenda. Small thaw, but trust? Frozen solid. New Year dawned crisp, resolutions whispered. Tobias to publish poetry chapbook, me to advocate statewide. KU accepted us both, commute doable, apartment hunt sparking dreams of city lights. But roots tugged. Eldridge wasn't foe now, just flawed kin. February frosts cracked under Valentine's thaw. Tobias planned surprise. Picnic in the hills, thermos of cocoa, his chapbook manuscript gifted wrapped in newsprint. Poems poured me, odes to cornfield confessions, shotgun sonnets. For you, he said, cheeks flushed. I read aloud, voice breaking on lines of loss and light. In the shadow of silos, we plant flags of flesh / unafraid of the reaper's scythe. Kisses followed, snowflakes melting on skin, love a quiet revolution. Marry me? He asked later, ring simple, silver band etched with plain stars. Not legal yet, not here, but vow eternal. Yes, I breathed, slipping it on. Future crystallized, degrees, dogs, maybe kids via science. Humanistic hope, pieced from shards. But drama crests unbidden. March madness, basketball fever masking malaise. Pastor Hale resigned scandal-tainted. Affair leaked via anonymous tip. Jake's conscience. Church splintered. Moderates rising. Dad surfaced then. Letter hand-delivered by mom. Scrawl shaky. Rock bottom, son. Rehab in Topeka. Thinking on sins. Ellie needs us whole. Response. Cautious bridge. I visited once. Sterile ward smelling of bleach and regret. He looked shrunk. Eyes clear but haunted. Hurt you bad. He admitted, no excuses. Fear, mostly, of losing the boy I raised. I nodded, throat tight. You didn't lose me, Dad. Just pushed. No hugs, but handshake firm, start. Ellie beamed at next visit. Family again? Partial, I cautioned, but her hope infected. Spring equinox bloomed, betrayals bloom.
Blog hack, post twice that, slur insert, align queer do set.
Trolls swarmed. Addresses, threats. Cops traced to Uncle Ray, laptop seized. God's work, he claimed, but judge disagreed, cyberstalking charge. Trial swift, Elena's encore. Ray crumbled on stand. Harlan put me up to it. Save the family image. Dad testified against kin. No. Ends now. Verdict. Prison time. Restitution. Courtroom hush as gavel fell. Ellie absent but safe. Aftermath. Catharsis flood. Dad moved in sober house, visits tentative, baseball games with Ellie. Awkward nods to Tobias. Good man, he grunted once. Watching us grill burgers. Progress. Glacial. Summer solstice, 1 year post-grandma, we gathered me, Tobias, Mom, Ellie, even Jake, reformed, dating a barista from Hayes. Picnic on her plot, now trust held for Ellie. Toasts to Ruth. Fighter. Lover. Secret keeper. Cash legacy. Funds for her college. GSA chapters sprouting statewide. Tobias and I drove west post-feast. Windows down. Dylan crooning, tangled up in blue. We made it, he said, hand on thigh. I smiled. Ring glinting. Building it. But humanism whispers. No perfect bows. Dad relapsed once. Call at 2 a.m. Slurred apologies. I talked him down, no judgment. Wound scar, not vanish. Fall foliage fired the hills. Harvest hum resuming. Blog book deal inked. Fields of fire. A queer Kansas reckoning. Launch party small. Diner packed. Readings tear-streaked. Dad attended fringe. Clapping quiet. Proud, he mouthed later. First time. Climax's echo. That dusk scene. Rain lashed. Envelope clutched. Manifested real when I paid off Dad's debts anonymous. Cash from Grandma's ghost. Note attached. Fight back with grace. He knew. Called sobbing. Thank you, son. Betrayal's chain broken, not painless. Autumn deepened to November chill. The current date marking a full circle. 1 year since the shotgun's echo. Though no blasts now, just breezes rustling corn stubble. Tobias and I settled into KU rhythm. Lectures on postmodern lit for him, animal anatomy for me, evenings in our shoebox apartment off Massachusetts Street. Pizza boxes as coasters, books stacked like barricades. Lawrence pulsed liberal, rainbow crosswalks and coffee shops buzzing with acceptance. But homesickness nipped. Eldridge's flat expanse called. Ellie's drawings pinned to fridge. Dad's sobriety held fragile. A meetings thrice weekly. Job at the auto shop wrenching under hoods instead of hearts. Visits monthly. Him picking Ellie up, me tagging for awkward barbecues. Conversation tiptoed, crops, chief scores, avoiding the chasm. Once, over burnt hot dogs, he broached, "That book of yours. Read it. Hard but true. Sorry don't cut it. But it's start." I nodded. Lump throat. "Appreciate it, Dad." Tobias, Everbridge, clapped his shoulder. "Takes guts, sir. Thaw incremental like spring mud yielding to green." Mom bloomed bolder, volunteering at the new GSA outpost. Irony sweet, her pies now pride flag frosted. Ruth laugh, she said, apron dusted flour. Ellie thrived, braces gleaming, softball swing fierce. "Gonna be vet like you, Izzy." Weekends, she'd crash our pad, 3 to a bed, giggling over rom-coms. "You and Toby are goals," she'd declare, popping popcorn. Love's ripple healing generational gashes. Blog, now Prairie Pride. Sustained. Columns syndicated to Heartland outlets. Guest spots on NPR's All Things Queer. Voice steady recounting the stash. Grandma's gamble wasn't luck, it was legacy. Fighting not with fists, but funds. Donations swelled. Scholarships named for Ruth Klein. Rural kids fleeing shadows finding light. Tobias's chapbook dropped spring. Silo sonnets. Sales modest but reviews glowing. A bard of the Heartland's hidden loves. Launch in Eldridge, deliberate diner transformed. Balloons bobbing. Crowd mixed. Farmers nodding. Pastor Hale's successor preaching welcome. Dad bought 3 copies, tucking one in his lunchbox. For the long hauls. Romance matured, roots delving. Anniversary, 2 years since River Kiss, we hiked the river again, picnic basket brimming. He carved our initials in a cottonwood, sapsticky, I and T, forever. I added a heart, knife trembling. Later, under stars, bodies entwined gentle, whispers of vows. In sickness, storms, all. No clergy needed, our church the sky. But drama lingers, life's script unpolished. Jake proposed to his barista, small wedding, us invited. I stood best man reluctant, old wounds itching. Toast, families chosen, sometimes earned. To new chapters. He hugged fierce post. Thanks, bro meant it sorry. Forgiveness, partial pardon like rain after drought, enough to grow. Ellie's 13th dawned chaotic. Sleepover, me flipping pancakes. Tobias corralling tweents in board games. Dad arrived late, gift-wrapped mitt. Like old times. We tossed ball in yard, laughter echoing. First unforced. Mom snapped pics. Tears joyful. Whole again. Winter break, we drove home. Trailer festooned lights. Tree scavenged from the edge. Ellie directed ornaments. Angel for grandma. Eve fire crackling. Dad raised mug. Eggnog, virgin. To Ruth. And us. Clink resonant. Stories flowed. Her Vegas capers embellished. My shotgun night softened to fable. Tobias recited a sonnet. Voice velvet. From shattered glass, cathedrals rise. Midnight struck. Cheers. I pulled Dad aside. Love you still. He gripped shoulder. Eyes wet. Ditto, son. Took too long. No erasures, but erasures unnecessary. Scars map the man. Spring semester. Vet clinic internship. Saving a litter of kittens from a barn collapse. Their muse miracle. Tobias shadowed. Camera clicking for a feature. Unsung Heroes of the Heartland. Published front page, Echo edition mailed home. Dad pinned it proud. Summer solstice, engagement party thrown by Elena. Backyard bash, Lawrence lawns lush. Toasts toasted. Mia from GSA, now activist. Carlos, married now. Grandma's absence ached, but her spirit swirled. In the cash that bankrolled the clinic expansion, the trust blooming Ellie's dreams. Fall waned, harvest full. Book tour kicked. Readings in Kansas City, Denver, even NYC. Planes drawl amid skyscrapers. Tales of shotguns and secrets resonating universal. Q&A raw. How'd you survive? Love. Stubborn. Secret kinds. Back home, November 29th, today, finds us porch-sitting grandma's Victorian. Now ours via will. Ellie inside baking. Radio crooning holiday tunes early. Tobias beside, arm round shoulders. Ring catching last sun. Full circle, he murmurs. I nod. Envelope in lap. Final stash withdrawal, donated to a youth shelter in Eldridge. Fought back, I say. Now forward. Dad pulls up, Ellie waving from truck. Game night, he calls. We pile in, laughter trailing. Humanism's end. Not utopia, but humanity. Flawed families mending. Loves enduring, secrets seeding strength. In America's heart, where winds whisper redemption, we rise. Not unbroken, but unbound.